You've seen here many educators and facilitators of education assembled here to offer solutions and probably innovations of for the future of education in India, and not just higher education but also the school education and in general what education stands for. I would like to spend about 10 to 12 minutes talking about a set of things that I believe are very important for the future of education, considering at least three factors. One is technological. Of course, we know there have been tremendous technological changes, especially over the last decade. So how does this technology impact, especially the teachers and parents? I consider teachers and parents as the two topmost educators in a child or a student's life. The second factor that I would like to talk about is the increasing availability of open source content. What is its impact on classroom learning, students' learning, and how parents can actually also make a difference? And the third, of course, is the societal conditions. When I say societal conditions, I'm referring to essentially the family structure and how that has an impact on the child's learning. And again, how teachers and parents can come together and compensate for the change in the societal structure or adapt to the modern society that we are living in today. And fourth, of course, is the industry, changing industry or the industry 4.0. So let me start with the technology. When we talk of technology today, of course, we are reminded of artificial intelligence. We are reminded of the smart gadgets that we have. But we should also be reminded of the amazing computation and simulation tools that come in extremely handy for a teacher in a classroom session. If you take, let us say, a science or a math course, traditionally we have been teaching using equations and theorems and so on. But all of that can undergo a big change today, where you can bring computational tools and turn them into virtual labs in your classroom. What more can be great than motivating a concept by simulating in the classroom? You don't have to take students to a physical lab any longer today. Just like we say, children don't have to go to a physical school to learn. Students don't have to be taken to a physical lab. You can set up virtual labs in the form of simulations, animations, and motivate a concept. Once the concept is understood without the help of any formal theorems and so on, then automatically you have grabbed the student's attention. And then you introduce all the formal concepts. Once again, go back to the simulation or your animations and so on and demonstrate what you have learned, invoke their further curiosity, allow them to play around and experiment. So this is how you can use computation and simulation or animation tools to enhance your teaching multifold. Before you introduce a concept and after you introduce a concept, and also offer them avenues to play around and explore and ask questions. Now, of course, we have the NEP emphasizing this very aspect of bringing in technology into the classroom. Now, while government makes policies, as teachers and schools, we also have to rise to the occasion and bring about significant changes in our classroom teaching. One of the futures that I think we should watch out for, one of the future directions that we should watch out for, is the use of immersive technology. We are, of course, really at an infancy when it comes to that, when it comes to the use of immersive technology in education. But there are many like me who believe that the immersive technology, which includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on, will be really showing their potential in about 5 to 10 years from now in demonstrating many of the concepts that we learn in a hands-on way, again, in a very, of course, in a virtual world, but in a very effective way. And this can be very useful to people, to learners who are not necessarily going to be academicians, but who are in, let us say, the skill domain, the MSME, or who are actually enrolled in a learning program for hands-on skill development and so on. So this is something that we should gear up ourselves for. So obviously technology is talking about a lot of changes, and that is what this exhibition is also going to tell you, how technology is coming together. So I also happen to be the chief coordinator of DTH Swayam Prabha. This is a Ministry of Education initiative under the NMEICT initiative. And Swayam Prabha in parallel to NPTEL, both are actually, I would say, striking testimonies of how technology can bring knowledge to the learner and make a big difference. And of course, you can visit our website to learn more about what Swayam Prabha does. Essentially, it brings content to your homes through DTH. And here we make use of not only the simulations and computations that we talk about, but we propose to use some of the smart solutions that are available to increase the interactivity between the learner and, of course, the teacher. So let me move on to a very more important or an equally important aspect, which is again related to what I just said. Both Swayamprabha and NPTEL make the content available free to the learner, open to the learner. So today, a learner has free access, unlike maybe 30 or 40 years ago, where a student had to really go to the library or maybe refer to a textbook, which is probably not available easily, or consult, of course, the subject matter expert in the classroom. Today, those barriers are broken, and open source or free content is available at the click of a mouse. Now, isn't this, of course, a great revolution? Of course it is. But this also means for the teacher, the focus is no longer on delivering the content in particular, because the content is available. It's just, we are surrounded by content. So how should a teacher adapt to this new environment? Essentially, the teacher now should not be a content deliverer, but one who provides perspectives, one who actually takes a student deeper into the subject and encourages them to think more. And that is where the NEP also comes into a big play and encourages, group thinking, collective thinking, inquiry. And there is a model of learning called the flipped classroom model learning, where the content and the material is made available in the form of a video or audio to the student. And the students go over this offline, maybe in their hostel rooms or in their homes and so on. And then they come to the class with a lot of questions. It could be questions about the basic aspects of the subject, or maybe more probing aspects of the subject. So through group discussions and tutorials, the teachers can actually enhance the education multifold, the learning multifold. This is called the flipped classroom model, and it can be implemented in a very effective way. Okay, so that is a very, very important thing to watch out for, that today there is so much content available and the student is not looking up to the teacher for content, rather than actually looking up to for perspectives and answers to deeper questions. Let me point out the role of the parent in the in the learning journey of a student. Could be high school, preschool, or even higher education. I mentioned changing societal conditions. What I mean by changing societal conditions is essentially the family structure. So we have moved from a joint family system, by and large, to a small family, to a nuclear family, and if you may like it, today we are in the so-called electronic family society. And in this kind of a family structure, unfortunately, a lot of learning that was happening in a joint family setup is missing. So how do we compensate for this? Parents play an extremely critical role, and they should never think that a teacher can replace the role of a parent in the journey, in the learning journey of a child. The parents obviously have to wear multiple hats now and instill not only the learning procedures and so on, but also ethics, life skills, and so on. And the unfortunate trend seems to be that the parents are actually outsourcing, probably in an outsourcing mode. I think the sooner that this particular deficiency is recognized in the current structure, the quicker we can actually prevent the skills deterioration. And you can see many universities today are actually insisting on skill courses and so on. The reason is that the learning that is supposed to be happening at home is kind of incomplete. So my humble request is that as parent myself and a teacher myself, we take a conscious effort, we make conscious effort to ensure that children not only learn the subject, but also are given training in personality, in handling critical situations and so on. And I just want to close this with one statement that by and large, unfortunately, the many dimensions of education are projected all towards placement or employment, whereas education is multidimensional. So as institutions, as parents, as media, all playing a very critical role, we should always project education as means of turning a human being into a great citizen and not just converting a human being to a future employee. So this is my humble request and my opinion. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'll be very happy to answer any questions that you may have. You can write to me or write to us at Swayam Prabha, and we'll be very happy. Thank you, and good luck to all the teachers, parents, and educators. Thank you.